Hello and welcome to our training for today. It's called Team Building Dynamics and Etiquette. My name is Anil Ramshreder. I'm a regional ambassador with Global Wealth Trade. And the reason I'm doing this topic today is for someone like yourself, or for those of you that are watching this as a group that are brand new to network marketing, or maybe you have not had success in network marketing and you've struggled from company to company to company, this could be the topic or the information that you really want to give attention to that may have been the reason why you did not build a big team or had a duplicatable system and process. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. With network marketing, we have a lot of people that come from various industries into network marketing. You could be working at the hospital. Maybe you work with the school board as a teacher. Maybe you're involved in construction or land development. Maybe you're a fitness instructor. You may be in real estate, insurance, mortgages. You may be a stay-at-home mom or a single dad. It doesn't matter what industry you come from or what platform. When coming into network marketing, one very important thing to understand is network marketing is a different animal. It has different dynamics, requires a different understanding possibly. Now, that doesn't mean if you're successful in what you're currently doing, you cannot become successful in network marketing. Is just remember, you have been wired a certain way for many years with what you do, especially if you're an employee, or maybe you run your business a certain way. And so coming into the industry and platform of network marketing, you really, really want to respect and grasp that your wiring is different to what you're going to be exposed to in network marketing. That's all. And so if you take the time to master the industry of network marketing and the platform, then you can become successful. I see it all the time, people coming into network marketing from a different industry and they think they have it figured out. And then the industry, we could say, beats up on them, and then they quit because they don't give themselves time to understand that, look, this is something totally different. I need to respect it and give it time to understand it. Now, that doesn't mean you can't bring your skills to the table. So if you're organized, disciplined, structured, you have great people skills, you are able to speak in front of the room, maybe you're a very good listener, you're able to empower people to find solutions for their challenges. All those skills are fantastic in the industry of network marketing. So of course, bring that to the table with whatever industry you're in. However, as we move along in this training, I'm going to touch on some things that have worked for me personally over the last 20 years and what I've seen top performers in network marketing do when it comes to building teams and leading people and making sure there's a duplicatable system and process to follow. One of the biggest complaints I hear in the industry is this, and maybe you struggle with this. Anil, when I bring people to the table, they sign up and they eventually quit or they disappear. I don't hear from them, and they're not introducing me to people. They're not duplicating, and I don't want to keep doing this over and over and over, bringing people to the table that eventually quit or leave the business. So I need a system to follow. I need a duplicatable system. So that's a fair request. That's one of the biggest challenges in network marketing, because one of the mistakes network marketers make is that when it comes to building a team, they get into sales, they get into pitching, they get into having business conversations with their prospects when they're not following a duplicatable process. Now, remember, in team building, it has nothing to do with getting customers. So it's a totally different conversation getting customers, okay? Just remember that. If you're getting customers for your products or your services or whatever you're offering someone, that's a different conversation. You just need to get the person on the product or service. When it comes to team building, it's a different dynamics. It's a different etiquette, different conversation. So let's get into this. And as we go through this training today, make sure your phone's off, make sure you're not distracted. You can focus on this training. Do it with your team as well, so that they too are all on the same page with you as you're building together your global business, okay? Very, very important. Now, some points you're gonna be discovering or covering today in this training. One, we're gonna be talking about connecting and building a relationship with your prospect, something a lot of people in network marketing do not pay attention to and need to master. 2, introducing your prospects effectively to your mentor and expert. Again, a very important step a lot of people leave out. 3, working along with your mentor and expert with the prospect. So once you introduce the prospect, now you need to work along with your mentor and expert with the prospect. 4, proper etiquette, behavior, and action steps throughout the process. 5, teaching your team members as it builds the team building duplicatable process. 6, how you will become in time a mentor and expert yourself as your team builds. Very important to understand. And 7, how to build a global team. So please pay attention to these points as we go through our training. So when it comes to team building, the first step is, of course, you need to have a list of the people you want to approach, people you would love to partner with to be in your business. Maybe they have the same personality, same dynamics. Maybe they have connections, they're influencers, they're leaders in the community, and you want them taking a look at what you're up to, because you know when they join you or partner with you in your business, things are going to get explosive. So that's normal. So step 1 is to connect and get to know the person, to discover what about them in their life they want to improve on, or what about their life that is not working. So you want in this step to make the conversation about them. Get to know them. Find out things about them. In fact, as they share, one of the lines I recommend to use all the time in conversation, and write this down, is, thanks for sharing that with me. Tell me more about that. And whatever they share, say, that's amazing. Tell me more about that. Very importantly, ladies and gentlemen, discover whatever you can about the person. So the point in this step is talk less about you and get to know them. Okay, and as you're getting to know them, you can make mental notes so you can add that to their profile. If you with your list, the list you should have with the person's name and contact information, you should be adding points about them as you discover more about them. Okay. Now, step 2. Once you discover what they want to improve on, or what is not working in their life, then you can recommend the next step. And the next step is now bringing the expert or mentor to the table. This is where most people in network marketing fall apart, because step 2 is where I notice a lot of people get into talking about the business, or telling the prospect the cost of the business or the dynamics of the business. You want to be very, very careful here, because remember, whatever you're teaching someone, or the process you're putting them through, they're going to duplicate. They're going to duplicate. So after step 1, when you discover about them and find out what's not working or what they want to improve on, you now go into step 2 talking about your business. You're actually leaving the mentor expert out of the picture at this point. Now you have become the expert. Now, this is a really interesting dynamic, something I've noticed and observed for 20 years in various cultures and places I've done business. And here's something I want all of you to understand, okay? When you leave the mentor expert out of the conversation, you're basically letting your ego and pride get in the way with your business, because you feel you have to explain things to the prospect. You feel if you don't explain things, the prospect is not going to think of you as someone who's intelligent or knows what they're doing. And that comes from the school system. That comes from the education system, because in the school system and education system, I'm not sure if you remember or look back, let's just say you didn't have the answer correct, or you didn't know what to say in class. You felt stupid, or even sometimes people would have made fun of you or made you feel stupid. Now, that didn't mean you were stupid. It just meant you didn't have the answer to the question, or didn't know what to say or to contribute. Well, as we get older in life and become adults, we feel if we are not experts, or we know the answers to stuff, or we can explain stuff, we look stupid in the eyes of people. That is not true. That is not true. That's just a belief most of society have taken on as they go through life. It's about looking good. It's about being accepted. It's about people liking me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with step 2, if you're not cautious and careful with this, it could affect your business adversely. Okay? Because it's not about you looking good, it's not about you not knowing the answer or you not being to explain something. That's irrelevant. It's about you putting your prospects through the proper process. Now, with step two, I'll give you an example for myself when it comes to business and in the current business I'm in. I know what I'm doing. I know about my business. I know about the products. I know about the compensation plan. I know all of that. So with step one, when I'm dealing with my prospects, do you think I can be an expert at step two? Absolutely. However, I am not with my prospects. I understand the dynamics of a duplicatable system. And you will hear this in presentations, you'll hear this in trainings as you build your business. People are not duplicatable, systems are. So just because I have the answers and I know what I'm doing and I'm an expert in my own right, that doesn't mean at step two I have to be the expert for my prospect. I still have to bring a third party to the table in order for my prospect now to see, okay, there's a system, I have to follow this. I should not be an overnight expert or mentor, because if I am, then I'm leaving important aspects of my business out of the loop, and I'm not working with my mentors. I'm not working with my expert. This is probably one of the most important slides in this presentation, ladies and gentlemen, is paying attention to step two. Now, generally, because you are working with your My5 experts with GWT, and that's what this presentation is about, you can say, thanks for sharing what you did with me, Bob. Listen, I am privileged to be working with and being mentored by Mr. or Miss and their name. I would love to introduce you to them so that you learn from them what they have been doing to teach and empower people to get out of life what you just shared with me. Whatever the person shared with you, with what's not working or what they want to improve on. Okay, remember they shared that with you in step one? Okay, very good. Can I arrange a phone introduction with you and them? That's it. Step two is now you acknowledging and thanking the person for what they shared with you, and then speaking about your mentor or expert that's assisting you in your life with what you want to improve on or what's not working. Now, with this step two, for those of you that have not watched the personality types training that I've done with GWT, please go get that training. Find out from your mentor expert how to access that training to understand the dynamics of step two here. This is a very, very important step, ladies and gentlemen. Very important. This is where most people in network marketing fall apart, because they've discovered what the person wants. They've discovered what's not working. However, instead of now saying, hey, look, I'd love to introduce you to my mentor, this person is empowering me to get what I want. And what they do is they empower people to get what they want. And what you shared with me, they can empower you to get what you want. And I want to share that with them and introduce you so they can share with you what they recommend as the vehicle or the platform to get that. That is what you have to do with step two, is bring the mentor to the table now. Now, again, let me reiterate before I move on. That doesn't mean you don't know what you're in. That doesn't mean you don't understand the business you're in. That doesn't mean you are not an expert in your own right. What it actually means is you are now bringing someone through a process that they can duplicate. Because remember, they are not you. They are not you. They come from their own industry, their own background, and in order for them to be successful in network marketing and be successful in what you're up to, they must follow a system and process. So make sure, ladies and gentlemen, you do not skip step two. Now, as you bring the prospect to the table to meet the expert, you need to edify the expert. Now, edification is a word not commonly used in society. It means simply speaking highly of someone else, introducing an expert to someone. So you're basically, when you think about it, you're bringing two strangers together. You're bringing your prospect together with your expert. So it's up to you now to bridge that gap. Very, very important. Master edification. It will make you a lot of money and build you a massive, massive business. This is, again, another step people leave out in network marketing because they feel they have to be the expert. Okay, so here's a script I've used for over 20 years. And again, this is in harmony with the personality types training that I recommend you go watch to really, really understand this step powerfully. So basically, when I'm introducing my prospect to my mentor expert in what I'm doing right now, so GWT, my expert is Mr. Rene Liao. Now, just a little background on that, okay? Rene used to be in my team in another company. So I used to be his expert. Now that I'm in GWT, and he's been in GWT 10 years, very successful, and I only recently became part of GWT, now he is my expert. So just because I was his expert in another company does not mean I'm his expert here. He's my expert. And so I am quite okay with my pride and ego edifying him so that my prospects are put through a proper process. So this is all part of step 2. So, hey Bob, the person I shared with you about and my mentor, and here's where I would insert Mr. Rene Liao, I will be putting on the phone with you. Let me share a few things about Mr. Liao. He loves making money. He loves empowering people. He's all about having fun. And he has 100% of the information on what we do. So the reason why I use the script is because based on the personality types around the world, they fall into 4 categories: shark, whale, dolphin, urchin. So when I mention these 4 points to the prospect before I get them on the phone with Mr. Rene Liao, they know that he's an expert in all 4 types. So if the person has 2 or 3 or 4 of these types, then when Mr. Rene Liao speak to them, they're listening because he's speaking to what matters to them. Okay, very important. So always edify the expert before you put them on a phone call or introduce them to your prospect. I can tell every time when I'm not edified properly because the prospect will get on the phone with me with attitude. They're either negative, they're asking questions that don't make sense, they're not polite, they're rude, they're not respectful. So remember, it's up to you to build that respect between the prospect and the expert before you introduce them. So pay close attention to this. This is one of the most critical steps in network marketing people leave out. And this is where things fall apart in your business as you bring prospects to the table to introduce them to us. Make sure that you always, always, always speak highly of the expert. Because if you don't edify the expert properly, the message doesn't land powerfully. And so the prospect is not going to move forward to the next step. They're just going to have attitude, they're going to be negative, they're going to be closed off, they're going to be disrespectful to the expert. So you have to bridge that gap powerfully, okay? So pay attention to this step. That's very, very important. So this is all part of step 2. Now step 3, your job's done. Now the expert comes to the table. And the expert now arranges with the prospect to show them the possible solution. In this case, what Global Wealth Trade, GWT, has to offer the prospect to add value to their life or to show them how to rectify what's not working in their life. It could be finances, it could be time, whatever they want. Okay, so now the expert takes over. Now, with the expert, whoever you're using, it could be myself or someone in your team, we now will arrange with the prospect to show them the solution, which in this case is GWT, at a coffee shop, webinar, Zoom, hotel meeting, home meeting, convention, conference, boardroom meeting, whatever we decide with this prospect is the avenue or the platform now to showcase to them GWT. So that's in our hands. So think about it like football. Step 1 and 2, you've set up the play. Step 3, now you've passed the ball to us. So now we have the ball, you've passed the ball, now we take the ball the rest of the way to the end zone. Okay, so now remember step 1 and 2, you've set up the play, you've called the play, you've arranged the play, now you've passed the ball to us. Okay, very important to understand. Step 4 is when the expert shows up at the appointment to showcase the solution, in this case GWT, and you want to make sure you're present to learn as well. So now all of us have gotten together either on a Zoom or online webinar or in person. Remember, GWT is a global business. So a lot of times we meet with the prospect online or on a Zoom and not in person. Okay, it wouldn't be a global business if we were meeting on in person. Okay, so please understand that, and that's where you as well have to trust that the experts know what they're doing. They're an expert for a reason. So if you're struggling with your expert, if you're struggling working with your mentor, it's because you don't understand what you're in. Is that you don't value and appreciate what you're in, because you feel the mentor or expert have to constantly be visible or present with you in person. Well, that cannot exist with a global business. So understand that the expert knows what they're doing with your prospect, and you must get to that place where you trust the process. You must get to that place. If not, it will adversely affect your business, because you're going to be operating from a place of lack and confusion and not understanding how the platform works. And then when you bring the prospect to the table now, because you're not bridging the gap properly, introducing the expert, you're just creating challenges and problems with the prospect and the expert. And you're also doing that for yourself as well, because now your business is not going to grow. So this is a very important step as well, is to trust that the expert knows what they're doing. And again, remember, this goes back to what we talked about earlier about you going through the school system and the education system. The school system and education system doesn't really teach you how to play team. It doesn't teach you how to work within the dynamics of a group. It doesn't really empower you to have an expert in your life or how to introduce an expert. The school system and education system only trains us to become good employees so we can go work for someone else. It doesn't teach us these things. So as you go through this training, remember these are dynamics and things you have to learn with network marketing, especially if you come from the job world. These are things that are not taught to you in the job world, okay? Very, very important to understand here at step 4. And so when the prospect gets together with the expert with you, whether in person or not, or online, or on a Zoom or webinar or the internet or whatever, you must trust that the platform, whether it be a coffee shop meeting, webinar, Zoom, hotel meeting, home meeting, convention, conference, or boardroom meeting, will work for you and the prospect. And you have to trust the process, because experts are experts for a reason. A mentor is a mentor for a reason. Now, do you know what a mentor is as we move forward? A mentor is someone who has done repeatedly for themselves and have taught others successfully a duplicatable system and process that has generated results. That's a mentor. A lot of people in the industry pretend to be mentors, but they haven't, one, been successful in anything, two, shown others how to be successful in something, and three, generated results. That's not a mentor. That's not a mentor. You can say that could be a coach, because a coach can direct you through a process so you can be successful. That doesn't mean they're a mentor. For example, Serena and Venus Williams are professional tennis players. Their dad is not. He's a coach. He's never played professional tennis. However, he understands the dynamics of coaching someone through playing tennis successfully. That doesn't mean he's a mentor in tennis. Serena and Venus Williams are mentors because they have become experts. They've won numerous tennis championships, more than a lot of people actually. So they can mentor someone in tennis to win, the US Open or the Benson and Hedges Masters or whatever. They can actually mentor someone, but their dad is not a mentor, he's a coach. So in network marketing, mentors are people that are actually created success for themselves. They've taught others how to create success that have generated results. And those people have gone on to do the same. That's a mentor. So be careful who your mentor is. Be careful who's teaching you. This person must be documented as someone who's built teams, taught others how to build teams, and they have generated income, not probably in just one company, they've done it in multiple companies. And that's one of the reasons I joined GWT, is because Mr. Rene Liao is the youngest millionaire, and he's duplicated himself numerous times and taught others how to create success in business and building a global business. And he learned from our CEO, Mr. Ramin Mesgalu, and our Senior Vice President, Mr. Naz Human, who came from being in the field, and they've mentored people to be successful and created multimillionaires numerous times. So for myself as a professional, I only partner with people who are experts or mentors at what they do, and they've taught others how to do the same thing. And those people have gone on to become mentors with their own people, because they have been generating results over and over and over and over. So moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, as you work with your mentor or experts, build that relationship with them. Get to know them. Get to understand them. Don't get stuck in your mind and in your own world and be confused and not clear on what you're up to. Seek the advice of your mentors. Phone them daily. Reach out to them daily. Even if they're not reaching out to you, reach out to them, because remember, a mentor and expert is working with hundreds and thousands of people. So it's not that they're ignoring you. For your business to work, especially if you're building a big business and global business, you must show your mentor how badly you want success. So you have to reach out to your mentor. You have to reach out to your expert. And you have to show them by your actions how seriously and how badly you want your business to work. So keep that in mind with step 4. Your mentors and experts want to hear from you, okay? Now, things to watch for and avoid doing as you build your business. Now, we've covered steps 1 to 4, okay? You're understanding now the dynamics of bringing your prospects to the table. So let's talk about this. 1, with the discovery process of getting to know the person, avoid talking about GWT. Your responsibility is simply get to know them about what's not working in their life and what they want to improve on, not talking to them about your business. This is where a lot of people turn people off. They start pitching them about their business. You want to be careful. Nobody wants you to pitch them on anything. They want you to connect and build relationship with them. So remember, that's being human. And also the being part, being with someone, the human being. Be with people, get to know them. Okay, so just find out what they want to improve on and is not working in their life. That's all you're doing with step 1. Now 2, make the conversation more about getting to know the person and sharing about how much your mentor or expert has made a difference for you in your life. So share with the person why you want them to meet and talk to this person. Over the phone, in person, doesn't really matter. Share your story. So step 3 is you must master your 2-minute story and what you are up to and creating in life, having a mentor to guide and teach you. Step 4, avoid talking about GWT. If you do, then the person would want to explain about GWT, which will lead you into saying too much. And when you do that, then you do not have to get your mentor talking to your prospects. So step 4, I'm sure you've understood from the previous slides, when you start talking about GWT with your prospect, you've now eliminated the expert and mentor in the process. You've eliminated them. Because think about this, why would you need to bring your mentor expert to the table after you've shared already with the prospect about your business? And a lot of the times it creates confusion, because now when you bring the expert or mentor to the table and we say the identical same thing you said, the prospect scratching their head going, why did he or she bring me to the table with this person? They already told me all this stuff. So now it creates tension, it creates confusion. Your prospect doesn't really value meeting the mentor expert. And now you've created challenges in your business without even realizing it. So do not talk about your business. Now, if your prospect says, well, why do I have to talk with this mentor? Can you not share with me what it is you're up to that's giving you all this amazing success? Simply reply, I can share it with you, I can tell you, however, I'm brand new, I'm learning. I really want you to meet my expert or my mentor because this person is an expert in the industry for a very long time and I'm learning from them. And what you shared with me, what you're dealing with, I would really love for them to hear about it because they have helped hundreds and thousands of people handle that or dealing with that. I am brand new. I have not done that yet in my career. So use the brand new line. I'm brand new. I'm learning. I'm brand new. I'm learning. I am not a mentor or expert yet. I'm brand new and I'm learning. So if you remember that, ladies and gentlemen, remember that, then it's easy to introduce your mentor and expert, because then if you're saying you're brand new, then the person understands you're brand new. And you don't have to pretend you're an overnight expert or mentor. Does that make sense? I have been working with Mr. Rene Liao for just over 2 years now, coming up on 3. And I still say to people I'm brand new. Now, why do I say I'm brand new and I'm not lying? Is because I'm not at the income I want yet in GWT. My team is not the size that I want as yet. Does that make sense? So, of course, I'm brand new. There are still some things I need to learn in order to master being in fashion and beauty and health with GWT. Just because I came from another industry or maybe another company doesn't make me an expert in GWT. I'm still learning. So I'm okay speaking to people about Mr. Rene Liao as my expert. Very okay with it. And I will say I'm brand new for as long as it takes to get the job done, to get to that income, and to get to that size of team I want. I will say I'm brand new for as long as it takes. So my ego and pride is checked at the door. I do not have any ego and pride in this business. I am okay talking about someone else that's building my paycheck. Does that make sense? I really want all of you to grasp that with point number 4. Now, 5, for all events where the prospects have to meet the expert, make sure they have the address, arrange a ride if they don't have a ride, maybe carpool, pick them up at the subway, whatever. Make sure they get to the event, and you want them arriving on time. Very important. Now, step number 6. When the expert's dealing with the prospect, never interrupt the expert. Never interrupt the expert, because the expert, once they understand who they're talking to and dealing with the prospects, they know how to lead them along, right? Remember, they're an expert. They've done this hundreds and thousands of times. Sometimes I'll have my team member interrupt me in a conversation and say stuff like, Anil, you forgot to mention this. Or they'll jump in the conversation and say what they think was left out. Remember, we are getting to know your prospect. We know what their hot buttons are and what matters to them. Trust that we know what we're doing. Trust that we have your back and we have your prospect's back, that we want the best for you and your prospect. Do not ever interrupt us or the expert and mention something that you feel is being left out, because then you de-edify the expert. You actually make what they're saying, you lessen the value of what they're saying. Even though you think what you're saying is valid, okay? Let us call on you to make a point or say something when we're dealing with the prospect. Do not interrupt the expert. Very, very important. 7, pay attention to the entire process from where you are introducing your prospect to the expert in order to do it more and more and more. So just be present to what's going on. Pay attention to the dynamics, because remember, you may come from another industry or another background, another platform, another company. This may be something brand new to you, so you want to be very, very present as a student. Pay attention. The more you hear these conversations we have with prospects, the better you will become. And that may require you hearing it hundreds and hundreds of times. Do not become an overnight expert listening to a conversation 5 or 10 times. Remember, an expert is an expert because they have done it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. So let us do our stuff, okay, and pay attention to how it's done. 8, at all times, dress properly for business. So this has to do with public events. So when we get together with your prospects at a hotel, boardroom, home meeting, coffee shop meeting, wherever we meet, make sure you're dressed properly for business. In fact, even if you're on a Zoom or video call as well, make sure you're dressed properly and there's no distractions in the background on the video so that the prospects can pay attention to the experts. Make sure what you have going on your video screen is not distracting. Maybe people walking around, running around, kids playing. Be in a place where there's no background distractions, okay? And always dress proper. 9, at hotel or home meetings, make sure and introduce your prospects to the expert. So when you arrive, bring up your prospect and you can say something like this. Hello, Mr. Anil Ramshrita. I'd like you to meet Susan. Susan spoke to you on Tuesday. Remember we had that phone call? And then we will go, oh, hi, Susan, nice to meet you. Welcome to our event. Please grab yourself a glass of water, grab yourself a seat, sit at the front, and at the end of the presentation, please come up and see me so I can answer your questions. So make sure and bring your prospect to us. When the presentation is done, ask the prospect, what did you love the most about what you saw and heard? And you want to make note of that. What did you love the most about what you saw and heard? Then you bring your prospect up to us. So say, that's great, Susan. Let's go see Mr. Anil Ramshreeder and tell this to him. Here's what you do not want to do. You do not want to sit in your chair answering the questions of your prospects. You don't, because now you're cutting the expert out of the picture again. Be very careful. Remember what we talked about with the school system and education. Leave your pride and ego at the door. You don't have to be an expert with your prospect at the event. Remember, the expert is the person who got them to that event, whether it be an online event or in person. Take them up to the expert. Let the expert do our stuff. So bring the person up to us. Tell us what they loved about the presentation. Now we will take over the conversation. And you're there standing, learning, and paying attention to the dynamics of how we handle the prospect. So you, in time, you could be the expert for that person's contacts as they bring those people to the table. Remember, it's a duplicatable process, right? Number 10, make sure your prospects are comfortable at meetings with a glass of water, meeting the experts, getting a seat close to the front, and make sure they have their cell phones turned off. That is up to you now to make sure that's handled, okay? Because remember, the expert is busy getting ready for the presentation or sharing the information, so you want to make sure you, working along with the expert, gets the prospects comfortable and seated and their cell phones off, okay? That's your role. Point 11, make sure you and your guests are having fun and participating. Sit with your guests. So if the speaker in front of the room or the expert is presenting, asks a question, make sure you put your hand up. Make sure your guests put their hand up. Get them participating. If there's a joke, you laugh. Make sure your guests laugh. Make sure your guest doesn't get up and leave the room during the presentation. Make sure you don't leave the room during a presentation. If you have to use the bathroom, use it before, okay? If your phone's off, you're not going to be distracted to get up and leave the room. Never leave the room in a presentation. Because what happens is, on a psychological level, when you get up and leave the room, you're telling your guests the information is not important. That's the impression they get. Because they're thinking, if this is so important, I came out to meet this expert, why are you getting up and leaving the room? Is this information not important? So stay seated. Use the bathroom before the event starts. Usually most events last 40 minutes, an hour max. You can sit through it. Okay? Never ever leave your guests and leave the room. I see it all the time. Here's another mistake people make. They will stand at the back of the room and have their guests sitting in the chairs. Don't do that. Sit with your guests. Make them comfortable. Remember, they're sitting among strangers. They've never been there before. They're getting to know the expert. The information is new to them. They want to be comfortable. Make sure you sit with your guests. Number 11 is extremely, extremely critical in the duplicatable process for you building your business. Extremely critical. Sit with your guests. Sit with your guests. Very important. And so when you look at the dynamics of team building and etiquette, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you would agree with me, it's very simple. We talked about 4 simple steps. We went over 11 things to keep in mind and pay attention to and avoid building your business. Very, very critical. Now remember, if you are in your business right now, such as GWT, or whatever business or in network marketing, maybe you've been sidestepping some of these steps, or maybe you were not even aware of them, and this is all new to you. Don't worry about anything. Today is a new day. Forget the past. Yesterday is gone. Start implementing this in your business right away. Get together with your team. Go through this training together. Make sure everybody's on the same page. Role play if you have to, in order to teach this to your team. Like, set up little skits and show people how to do the discovery, how to edify the expert, how to pass to the expert on a phone call, how to introduce the person in the room at a meeting to the expert, how to sit with the expert. the dynamics during a meeting about turning your cell phone off and having fun and putting your hands up and not leaving the room for any reason. Do skits around this. Do skits around bringing up the guest to the expert or the prospect at the end of the meeting, sharing with the expert what the prospect loved about the presentation. Do skits around this. Practice, practice, practice makes better. So for those of you that have teams, make sure your team members follow this process. And that way you will avoid having signups that come in the business. They don't follow a system or process. There's no duplication going on. They quit, and now you freak out, you panic, you now start blaming the mentors and the expert for not doing an effective job when it's not the case. You're simply not following a duplicatable system. Okay, so it's okay to start today as a brand new day and start doing this. Now, when you look at this screen, you're probably wondering why I have this screen up, and I'll share a story with you before I conclude the training. I have been part of the network marketing, multi-level marketing, direct sales industry for 20 years now. Actually, it's less than 20 years. I started in 1998, so it's less than 20. It's about 18. And I remember being at a convention just like this, and I was sitting in the audience with my mentor, and my mentor, I had no team as yet. I did not even have one person in my business. And my mentor put his arm around me and pulled me close and said, "Anil, look around you." And I looked around and he says, "Would you like to have a team like this one day?" And I like, wow, of course, there's over 10,000 people here. And he said, "You can have over 10,000 people in your business. Just follow the duplicatable system I'm about to teach you with introducing people to me, following the steps, keeping certain things in mind, and paying attention to the dynamics and etiquette of your business, and do it over and over and over and over and over and over again till one day you become an expert, till one day you are a mentor, because you have duplication happening in your business, and there are people having results, and you're making money and your team's making money, and now you are a mentor and expert." He says, "Pay attention to what I'm about to teach you, because one day you'll have a stadium this size in your business." And when he said that to me, I was very present to that conversation. I remember I was at this seminar and Anthony Robbins was also training on the stage. So I got to spend 3 days with Anthony Robbins and being mentored by him as well. And moving forward, in 2009, so almost 10 years later, I was in a company, a travel company, and I pulled a report about my team. And I had over 10,000 people in my team. And when I saw that report, it took me back to that moment in 1998 when I sat in that stadium. And I remember vividly, Anthony Robbins was on stage. He was in a black suit. He was wearing a yellow tie. I remember everything. It was so vivid to me. And it was in Charlotte, North Carolina. And the convention center was on Billy Graham Parkway. I remember everything. I even drove down to that convention from Toronto. And I remember that day it was raining. It was so vivid to me. Now, why was it so clear to me? Is because when I saw in my travel company, I had a team of over 10,000 people. That was a very surreal moment for me. That is when I realized, wow, by following and using and teaching a duplicatable system, I was able to generate results. I was able to teach other people how to have results. I had become a mentor and expert because I taught other people how to become mentors and experts in their own businesses having results. And so, yeah, I eventually was able to sit in a stadium like this, and the entire stadium was in my business. The entire stadium was my team. And so that's what we're creating right now in GWT. That's what we're creating right now in our current company. That's what you're up to and creating as well. And that's why you're watching this training. So, ladies and gentlemen, be present to this. Be present to the fact that you can have a global business by following a duplicatable system. However, in order to do that, you must become effective at understanding team building, the dynamics, and the etiquette that comes with building a business. And so in conclusion, I want to thank you for being on this presentation. I want to thank you for paying attention to this training. Remember, forget about what you did before. If it has not been working, just pay attention to what you are doing moving forward. Speak to your sponsor, speak to your mentor, speak to your expert, whoever you're working with. Get them to realign you, get you back on track, reset you so you can start following this process I talked about today. And watch this training over and over and over and over and over until it's clear in your mind that this is a system you must follow in order to have duplication, in order to have the proper etiquette team building around the world. Because remember, in order to build around the world a team, you must have other people in your business duplicating and doing what you're doing. If you're doing everything, you're not building a team, you're just doing sales. And eventually those people you bring to the table that you were so slick with, that you're able to get in your business are not duplicating now, and eventually you're going to have people quitting and falling off and not wanting to follow you anymore. And that's because you're not teaching an effective duplicatable system. Remember, a duplicatable system involves you getting to know the person, sharing your story, finding out what matters to them and what's not working, speaking about a mentor or expert that's been giving you what you want and that has been giving hundreds and thousands of people what they want, bringing that person to the table effectively, and then following the steps to follow, working with that expert and mentor to make sure your prospect comes into your business effectively, so now they can go out there and duplicate the same process with others. And eventually you'll have a team all over the world. That is what we talked about today, ladies and gentlemen. So again, in conclusion, I want to thank you for your time. I love training on topics like these because it's what empowered me over the years to build big businesses. And even when I go into a brand new company, I always remind myself, Anil, you're brand new. You're brand new. Work with your expert, work with your mentor. Just because you had success in another company or you came from another industry or you were successful in something else does not mean you are an expert in what you're in right now. And so it's kept me humble. It's kept me leaving my pride and ego at the door so I can work with my experts, I can work with my mentors, so I can serve people I love, serve my contacts, serve my prospects, and bring them to the table properly so that they can have success being my business partners and being part of what I'm up to. And that's what I want for you watching this training. That's what I want for all of you as a team watching this training, that you have the same for yourself and your family, and having whatever you want in your life, being part of global wealth trade, building a business around the world. So, I want to thank you for your time. I had fun. I really pray you had fun as well. My name is Anil Ramtrader, Regional Ambassador with Global Wealth Trade. I want to thank you for getting on this training today. And I want to thank you for paying attention to these very, very important points as you focus on team building with the dynamics and the etiquette necessary to have success in your global wealth trade business. Have a wonderful day, an amazing week, and all the best building your business in the days ahead. Thank you.